Welcome back to Wonder, guys. I'm so excited to talk with you guys today because I have Mr. Dylan Stroud, Taylor Speegle, and today we are going to be talking about something that has been on my mind a lot. I just turned 40 years old.
Congratulations.
My health. So let's get into it. Most of the time when people, I would think most, especially a lot of Americans, we have 370 million, 400 million of us that's here in the United States. Most of the time when it comes to medical, we pay every month for an insurance. Most people don't go to the doctor. And they only go when something horrible is happening. And then we go for our a checkup once or twice a year. They hit our knee, we do the bump. That means you're healthy. We do some blood work, it comes out okay. Cholesterol is probably high, lay off some McDonald's and we're gonna be okay. And that's really what we do when it comes to medical. And unfortunately, every now and then we do have to go to the actual doctor because something serious happened. But outside of that, that's all we really do when it comes to seeing our doctor. So today, one of the questions that came in through our community, FYI, if you're not registered on our community number, do that right now, 702-602-8802. The way we pick all of our questions is through our community. So if you have a question for us, I'll get these guys together, we'll answer those questions. So today, when this came in, it really kind of got my juices flowing when it came to technology and medical and bringing the consumer closer to how we are. So I want to talk about this is a glucose. This is my glucose monitor, and then the week before this, I had my heart rate monitor on for 9 days. This one stays on for me for 16 days, and so we're already using technology. This is connected to my smartphone and tells me if I'm healthy, supposedly. So what else is coming in the mainstream of bringing the consumer and medical together?
Yeah, well, one of the main things that we're seeing is this shift from reactive medicine, where you have a symptom and then you go into more passive and proactive medicine. Well, sort of a wellness paradigm shift where we have devices like this. This is called an Oura Ring. This constantly tracks different biometrics, and then it goes, it's connected to my phone, and you can kind of see, you're not getting enough sleep. What are those benchmarks, and what are the biometrics that are important to general health? And this kind of data can be used personally to optimize yourself and optimize your health and well-being. And it can also be used passively with doctors, right? So they can actually monitor you in real time.
Yeah, I mean, that reactive versus proactive piece, I think a lot of us have seen, and it's been talked about quite a bit, where in medicine, we're often not taught, if you talk to a doctor, they're often rarely, if ever, taught really the causal reason behind the formation of the disease or the existence of what's wrong. It's more so treating it. It's all about treatment. And so I'm very excited and optimistic, especially when you talk to medical schools or doctors or researchers within the field that tend to be on the more progressive side. They're really pushing and focusing on shifting what medicine is, how medicine is taught to within medical schools, how that carries through a physician's, practitioner's life, and really changing, again, paradigm shifting that, and also putting more of the power into the consumer, into you. Like right now, you could have access on your mobile phone to see what the actual results are. And you have, through just normal research or what your doctor may provide you, some benchmark to say, this is how I interpret some of those readings. And I'm excited about those two shifts of changing the way medicine is really conducted in a professional setting, and then putting a lot more power and ownership over your health profile and health monitoring into the mind of the consumer, because no one's going to think about you as frequently as yourself. And in order to do that, you need data, frequent data, right? Oura Ring, I think, is amazing, and Fitbits and Apple Watches that track biometric data. Ding. Yep. And those are incredibly powerful tools to you, the individual, because you're the one that is going to be reminded to look at that more frequently. There's going to be more and more tools out there and systems out there to help raise a red flag. Let's say, maybe you're not paying attention to it, but it's just passive data that's flowing through and building your profile. If there's some sort of glitch, right, or if there's something wrong.
Like different with your baseline.
Yeah, if there's some indicator, whatever that panel may be, if there's some sort of indicator that, hey, you may want to get this checked, how great is that? You're sitting there and you wouldn't otherwise go to the doctor, and then all of a sudden you have this notice that your doctor might actually receive saying, hey, this person should probably come in, you should probably go in and see your physician.
We noticed an irregular heartbeat, or your heart rate's been elevated. You might be getting sick, you haven't been sleeping enough the last week. These are things that we don't generally think about, but technology can really help simplify this and make it easier for us to be mindful of how we're treating ourselves and taking care of ourselves, and get proactive about postponing or preventing sickness.
Yeah, and seeing and And then actually, again, being able to proactively change and modify that. So one of our projects that we worked on is Age Meter. And so it's a functional age test and monitoring system. And so it's currently evolving and we're actively in development, but the current product that's out there in the market will measure various biomarkers that are strongly correlated with aging. And so it's measuring things like auditory reaction time, visual reaction time, your memory, and it's done so through taking a few tests on the iPad, and we're working on integrations with the likes of Apple Watch to take more biometric data in. And then we build a profile and saying, okay, you're 40, but functionally, based on all the biomarkers and research, you're actually functioning more like a 35-year-old, which is a generally positive thing. And you keep taking, and as the more data that you take over time, you can see, okay, well, I'm still pacing healthier than my age might be, but let's say one day, you're taking the test, or all of a sudden your cognitive ability with memory starts to fall behind the curve. And so everything else seems really strong and healthy, but all of a sudden you're, instead of the 50th percentile where we might hope you'll be, you're the 30th and 20th, and you're falling way back there, then that's a great, again, red flag indicator that, hey, you might want to be able to look into this further. And maybe here's some recommendations, or here's who you should go see to be able to address that. And we've seen that in our product that we've built and the doctors that utilize it today. And so we're seeing those in use today, but we're going to get to the point in the future, people have talked about it, but going to the bathroom, right? Your fecal matter and urine can actually have a fairly significant set of data that can determine various factors of health. And so going to the bathroom every day is, again, kind of tied to the smartphone idea, where it actually can take a small sampling and then analyze that sampling and then be able to provide that data to, again, give indicators.
Yeah, we're seeing, really, we think about it in two steps. There's the hardware side, so you have devices like this where there's a ton of potential to create smart devices that are dedicated towards health, wellness, fitness, mental health. The hardware side, that's everything from toilets to wearables. There's all kinds of amazing innovations and advancements that are happening there. And then there's the software side. There's what do you build for those products? What do those products actually enable? What kind of software can we provide to collect that data? What is important? What is too much? What is, and what are your goals even in terms of what we relay to you? And then, what's amazing about this is as we produce this, the real thing that's happening is we're generating massive amounts of data that we can use as correlative, really education for research. So we can start to see, in the example of aging, and we can look at what are the average performance levels for physiological biomarkers or cognitive biomarkers for people of your age group. And so now we can actually try different interventions and see if any of those things are working. And the same thing can be said for, improving your cardiovascular fitness, or, whatever those things that are important to you, whether it be, genetic tests that are available now, through vast surveys, we can kind of get a sense of like, hey, you might be more likely to develop X illness because of your family history and because of your genetics. Well, we can use that to actually improve the healthcare, preventative techniques for individuals, because we now have the data, we can provide research on the large collections of data, and we can capture this data in ways that we could never do before passively. And of course, that takes another step. You can take that into your own hands, but this also starts to empower, really doctors and doctors' offices and to really start to provide next level care to stand out from other doctors' offices. You can really think about, having much more data than they get from 2 seconds of taking your heart rate when you're sitting and you're nervous and you're in the doctor's office. Well, they have your baseline that's been going on for the last month, and they can definitely see what's happening there. So,
and when you do go in, so at that point, let's say you still go in twice a year, but now when you go in, they're not having to determine what that baseline is. You don't spend the entire time just trying to run those basic sets. You can now assess that and then run more intensive diagnostic
trends,
and be able to really tear that apart, or do more robust testing that you might not be able to do at home. And that just makes it a more effective experience. And I can tell you, that would be my preferred. You just went through kind of a more novel, progressive kind of medical experience out of San Diego.
I was going to mention, have either of you seen the movie The Island with Scarlett Johansson and Obi-Wan Kenobi? Yeah. So in that movie, when he wakes up, he's in the lunch line, he wants bacon, but she's like, and then when he scans his wrist, he's like, oh, you can't because your cholesterol's a little high. Mm-hmm. I would love that for my mom, honestly. And I would probably love that for myself too, knowing that when I cheat, and then you're gonna hear the repercussions, and then now you have to be good for the next week to solve that out. And the reason I mentioned that too is because I just did a pretty crazy medical experience, and I never would have thought that my Apple Watch, they asked me to screenshot my fitness results for the past 6 months for the baseline of what is James doing every single day, and be able to see my heart rate and all that, all based on this thing that is on my wrist. And it's an amazing thing how people have created that. And then to throw in too, just because I'm the marketing loudmouth guy, is it's an amazing thing that Wondour creates these type of technologies. So if you're watching this right now and you're thinking, man, I've always wondered, why does this not exist in the medical space, or I wish this existed, I wish that had existed, and things like that, hit us up on community, because we can actually not just talk to you about that, we can actually build this for you, this new technology that maybe you're thinking, and probably a lot of other people are too, but like most people, they just haven't moved on and actually filled it.
Yeah, so, and of course you're seeing the consumer wellness side happening as well. So there's the pure wellness, and then there's also things like Peloton and other devices that are similar, where you're looking at hardware-software combinations, where we collect biometrics and we make it more entertainment, like what is it called? Sort of like edutainment, but like fittainment. Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a few different terms that they use, but
Nintendo's Wii really has done a great job when it comes to having fun but getting exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you have smart devices, the nice thing is a lot of these already have so much range as well, whether it be an Apple Watch or an Oura Ring. You can look to think on how can we integrate these hardwares and develop products for that demographic that has it, or that would find a lot of use for it, and build custom software for them. It's definitely something we have done in the past. We love it. It's a lot of fun, and there's so much potential and opportunity there. It's really exciting.
Yeah, and we have a project right now, or at least we have kind of the IP side of it built out in the tech stack, on being able to extend these types of tools to the everyday kind of fitness influencer, if you will. And so if somebody has an Apple Watch and has biometric data, imagine you're making a YouTube video and you're trying to get people to be involved and engaged within your course. You might be teaching cycling, whatever it may be. Imagine now having access to biometric data as an individual influencer, and to say, okay, well, you can have a live setting. Okay, I see that your heart rate is X. I can provide recommendations where, hey, I want everybody's heart rate at Y, and so the user experience is now more engaged. So it's like going to kind of a high-end, like Orange Theory is one here. But it's providing some of those technologies that Orange Theory uses to elevate and engage the user experience, but then empowering that to James. Let's say you're a fitness influencer and I'm trying to take your live course through an app. Well, now you have access to biometric data, and you can actually set ranges and limits, and be able to provide a follow-up plan for all these individuals. And so you're seeing that empowerment, where it's no longer just a corporation that holds all of this data. You're seeing technologies that are coming further and further down the pipeline to the consumer, to the everyday trainer, that I think is going to be a net positive for the health and well-being of individuals.
Absolutely. And of course there's like the more structured, actual doctor-oriented, like if you're in cardiovascular recovery, where they're actually putting you through programs to try to improve your health and well-being. These same technologies can be used for that as well, not just consumer side. So really the sky's the limit. And what a whole nother segment of that we're seeing in the medical space is also just the increase of access. There's obviously we do a lot of travel time going to doctor's office, finding therapists. There's a lot involved in getting in the car, driving there, setting up an appointment, sitting, waiting. Everybody knows what it's like to wait in a doctor's office. And we've seen obviously during COVID, and we've talked about this a bit before, just sort of the shift of the need to reduce our strain on infrastructure, to allow people to get the care that they need from a distance. If they don't need to go in, they can actually do that. So technology is enabling us to do this more and more, and we're really only starting to scratch the surface, where if you need to talk to a doctor, we can give you access instantaneously from anywhere in the world. So whether you're in a community that's filled with really good doctors, or you're nowhere near even a doctor, you could potentially access them as long as you have an internet connection. And you can see this everywhere from phone, web, to virtual reality starting to emerge, where you can get this sense of physical presence, and you can be there and get the care that you need really easily, conveniently, and without all the stress and on yourself in terms of like the waiting rooms, and just there's white coat syndrome. It's a very common thing in America, at least, and so we definitely are seeing people engaging, really interested in engaging with their doctors in this way, both more passively. Check up on me, you can see this, and then if I have to see you, do I have to come in and be around other sick people, or can we just talk? We have connected devices. You can have pulse oximetries that's internet connected to your mobile app that you're running, and now they don't have to check your other biometrics or your blood pressure. So really only getting them into the office when you need to be there, reducing strain, reducing costs, making it easier, getting better care all around, and that really spans from obviously general health and well-being all the way to mental health, which is a really, really important problem that's rising.
I think the summary is with the technology advancements and what we're pushing for and spend a lot of time developing technologies for is really that. It's taking, making healthcare better, right? Making it more accessible to people regardless of geographic location or demographics. And then making it more affordable. So accessibility across the board, because right now there's a labor shortage across hospitals and the healthcare industry right now. And so I think through digital innovation, you can release some of that strain and some of that burden while at the same time lowering costs and making the overall experience more enjoyable. Yeah, like the white coat syndrome is like, who wants to go in and see undecorated white walls everywhere, white coats? It's just this. People are not organically getting better from the environment. It's simply
and their anxiety, their blood pressure, they're nervous.
Yep. And we can track outcomes, right? So because we have this data, we can also see differences in outcomes. Like people who have access to this, if you're in a hospital room and you're in recovery and they can't get in because you're in a pandemic or whatever the reason might be, if that ever happens, we now have the ability to put you into the same room with friends in virtual reality and family, so you at least feel like you can get out of the room. We can control the environment, make it look like however we want. This could be a beautiful, calming ocean side and your friends and you're just watching a floating movie. And just to help speed up your recovery time and get some, feel human again while you're in there, which is also important. It's just improving the quality of life for people during some of their hard times in life when they're trying to recover. So, and we definitely can do that. This is technology that's doable today, and if people just decide that it's important, we can make it, make a big difference.
Beautiful. All right, well, we'll leave it there when it comes to technology and bringing it closer to the consumer. That's really exciting. All right, how do we get a hold of Wondour for everyone that's wondering?
Get a hold of us. You can find us at wondour.com, WONDOUR. Obviously, check us out on YouTube, find us across socials, and we're always excited to have a discussion. We do a ton in the world of the medical space, so we'd love to be able to sit down, whether you're a practitioner or just an end consumer with a dream and an idea. We'd love to hear it.
And if you're wondering how we pick our topics, it's through our community channel. So number one, register. It's 702-602-8802. Text us any questions, and then that's how we pick the topics for all of our videos. Again, it's 702-602-8802. Wondour, thank you so much for being a part of the video today.
Thanks, James.
And then to help us do all the YouTube stuff, and we're really building our Wondour channel and building the community. So if you enjoyed the content, if you got anything out of it, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell. That way, every time we release a brand new video on our Wondour channel, you're gonna get notified. You can just really hear these guys' thoughts and these forward-leaning innovators on how we take technology to the next level. So that's very, very exciting to me and everyone else. And with that being said, until our next episode, we'll talk to everyone soon.